This conference will now be recorded.
So yesterday we had a more sort of like an overview of the course. So we haven't seen and also just we saw an action in action JMeter. So today we'll be continuing the course. I mean, like we'll start. It's actually officially a day one for the course. So what we will do is we will be understanding the things what is coming for you, right? For example, it's a big mountain which is coming in front of you. So you are getting ready for that, right? So that this next 1 or 2 days will be on that. Like you will get to know, okay, what are the things we will be learning, and basics of that fundamentals required to learn those things, right? That we will try to brush up, and we will try to understand. Okay. So today let me start with very fundamental topic. So see, I will be going through each tier architecture, different types of architectures and all, but I want to, in a high level way, remove some misconceptions about some things, right? Like, for example, what is cloud and non-cloud, what is on-premise and on-cloud, and let's say what is the CDN, load balancer, some architectural related concepts, right? Which is basically a little bit of misconception. Like we still clearly don't know what they are, right? So in a high level way, let me start off with it. So first, I will start off with the architecture a bit overview. Okay. Before, so whatever I'm taking now, we will go in detail as we come across the course. Okay. But for now, just we are getting warmed up. And let's take it as a warm up. Okay. So architecture we will see. Then after that, let's see on the after architectural, see when you are getting into performance testing, so there are some performance testing basics which we need to know, right? So for example, some fundamentals, what actually happens in performance testing, what's the significance of it. So we will try to understand that, and also some types of testing in a very high level way we will see before we jump deep into those. Okay. Then we will get into JMeter, and we'll quickly try to understand how we, like, what are the prerequisites for using JMeter? How can I quickly set up a test plan and run a small test in JMeter, right? So these things we will try to cover in a small 1 hour agenda for today. Okay. So let me start with architecture overview. Okay. Right. So when I say architecture, there are two types generally people say. One is logical architecture and second is a physical one. Okay. So performance, actually, if you see, right, the main focus of performance is on the improvement of the physical architecture. Logical architecture, we don't much worry about because if at all we raise an issue or a defect is raised, the logical side issues are resolved by the team, right? But the physical is what we are more, I mean, like we get more chance to optimize, or we can say we get chance to know more, right, using the performance engineering and testing practices. So now coming to a basic, like most, let's say 80 percentage of or 70 percentage of the applications which we see online, okay, they will cover somewhat this type of architecture. Okay. So how they will be? Let's take, I have an application of Pizza. Okay. Now Pizza Hut, let's say we have some users who are using application. So one is, let's say we have mobile to which they can order the mobile app, right? Then let's say there is a, they can order to the laptop also, right? They can order through a kiosk. Now, what's a kiosk? Let's say in Pizza Hut, when you go, you see a big machine sitting in front of your that's that person, right? Who will be ordering? He will be placing your order through that machine, right? It's called kiosk, right?
POS machine.
Yes, correct, right? So that will be. So these are some interfaces which actually does same purpose, right? Creating the order, right? So if you see, all of them actually go and converge at a point. Means they go to one endpoint.
Voice,
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. Voice
Vishnu,
is like off
your,
and on. Like
yeah.
you're just breaking up sometime.
Oh, my voice is breaking.
Actually, it is not breaking, Vishnu. It is
Yeah.
I
going
mean,
low in
like it's
between.
not it's not in a
Yeah,
steady state like the
steady
Oh,
state.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let me connect mic. Okay, microphone. Just a minute. Yeah, thanks for bringing it up. Maybe when I'm using that board, right? So maybe like that. Better now?
Yeah, far better.
Yes, it is fine. Yes.
Yeah, because I just switched it to my.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that is the reason. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's better, right? All of you?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, sure. So now coming to the overview again. Okay. So now this all will point to a point called endpoint. Okay. So this endpoint is nothing but it might be an entry point like load balancer. Okay. Or it could be basically see from this point is where my backend starts. Whatever this one is there, right? We can very simply call it the front end. Okay. So when we test something, right? Or when a development is happening, right? Front end is developed by a different team, back end is developed by a different team. Okay. So front end is more on the UI, right? How the UI will be and all those. So they develop that, right? The CSS, HTML, even Java programming in the app, right? They develop that. Now this front end and the back end. So back end is where the server, that server communication will happen, right? And that backend server or the backend will start generally with a load balance. It's again an optional thing. It's not that all applications will have a load balancer surely, but generally they will start with. But sometimes what happens is before load balancer, there will be a component called a CDN. We call it the content delivery network. I'll explain what a CDN is, okay, in the upcoming session. After CDN, it goes into load balancer. Now from load balancer, what will happen? It will, the load, the transactions will get split into multiple CPUs. Let's say if you have some 5 or 6 or 10 CPUs, why I'm calling CPU is so that even basic person can understand what it is. I will come to what is instances, nodes and all, but simply just assume there are some 5 CPUs sitting, right? Which is your, what I can say, the horsepower required to run your application, right? Now let's say if I want to run this Chrome, now this Chrome is running in my machine, right? In my CPU. So similarly, this application is running in these CPUs, okay? And let's say all these CPUs are connected to a disk. So the data, the files and all those things are in this disk. And these CPUs can access that disk to process it and whatever things they want, right? Now coming to, now this is where things become little tricky, right? So now this architecture which I showed you, even this load balancer actually will be sitting inside a CPU only. Because load balancer is also a software which is running inside a CPU. Okay. Similarly, CDN. CDN actually what happens is generally it can be a third party like Akamai and all. They're third party providers of CDN. But generally, if you want to create your own CDN, again, this will be also a CPU or multiple CPUs, whatever way, right? If you need more CPUs, you have more than one CPU, so even one, like based on the need and how the traffic and all is there. Now coming to, now what I'll do now, I will zoom into this CPU, one of the CPUs. Now that is where your web server comes into picture, app server will come into picture, DB server will come into picture, all those things will come, right? Because inside these CPUs, this web server, it's a software which is running, right? App server is a software which is running. DB server, it's a DB like MySQL DB or Oracle DB, which you install in this. So those will be running, and the files obviously will be coming from the disk, right? As your laptop. Your laptop, whatever software you install, right? The files for that disk, I mean, like files for that software will be in the disk, right? And the CPU will be pulling the data from that disk, right? So and so yeah, so this is how a physical architecture in a very high level way things will be, right? So as a performance tester, right, if you see this architecture, we are more worried about the back end. We are not much worried about the front end. Can anyone say why? Why as a performance
Yeah.
tester?
Yeah.
I'm, yeah,
Yeah.
please go.
Because I believe it is for the more about the developer's job to
Mm-hmm.
run their code and tuning the code specific related things, and like full stack developer or the Java developers will take care of those. But still I believe it is some extent it is part of
Mm-hmm.
our tuning as well,
Yeah,
right? So if
yeah,
you take the
exactly,
reports and
exactly, exactly.
And it's hello.
Yeah, good. I think I have some
And
noise,
it's
right?
a
Is it from my
yeah.
mic?
yeah, I hope Vishnu from your side only. Maybe
Can all
other.
go on mute?
Yeah, I'm going mute.
Krishna, can you also?
Yeah, so it's a performance testing, right? It's depends upon back end. Front end will be depend do on functional testers like manual testers and automation testers. Hello, hello. You are not audible.
I think this noise comes from Krishna because when you
Yeah,
are
yeah, yes, yes,
creating
yes,
some,
Vishnu. Correct. Yes, it is coming from him. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, Vishnu.
Yeah.
We can hear
Okay,
you
Krishna,
clear.
can you type down your question in the chat?
No, not question. He's answering, Vishnu. He's saying front end will be most of the front end testing will be done by functional and automation testers.
Yeah, true, true. Yes, exactly. Okay, so that's a good answer. So now what I will do, I'll compile all these answers and explain it in a well formatted way. So see, what happens is when you are doing performance testing, please stop me, okay, if my voice is not audible or some issues, because just if I keep on going, it doesn't make sense, right? So please stop me anytime, okay, if you am not audible in case. Yeah. Now, when I'm doing performance testing, 90% of my efforts will go into backend and only 10% actually will go into front end testing. Now, the reason behind this is the most simple reason, or I can say the most apt reason to that is, let's say there is an issue in front end, okay, and there is an issue in backend, okay. Now, front end is actually processed more on your client's machine. So when I say client machine means, let's say I'm opening Chrome, okay, and I'm opening Amazon.com there. The front end side, like how the picture should be aligned, how the JavaScript will be processed, how the CSS will be processed, that all those things, right? That processing will actually use, let's say, Pradeep's laptop, right? It's Pradeep's laptop, and he's opening Amazon.com there. So the resource required to do that will be used from Pradeep's laptop, okay, majorly. But let's say if some processing is required from the backend, right? Like let's say some username password he's logging in. So that time the backend will come into picture. Or similarly, some request he needs to some small some. So in that cases, backend will be called. Now let's try to understand if there is a front end issue, okay? And let's say 10 users are using, like Pradeep, there are 10 users. So all of them will get affected, but I mean, like your front end issue is not getting multiplied, it's happening parallelly. But let's say if there is a backend issue, all these 10 users will be using that same backend only. So the issue is getting multiplied by 10. Are you getting the scenario here, all of you? Why backend is very
Yes,
critical, right?
correct. Everyone will
So
be impacted. Yeah.
yes, so user count is actually affecting the backend. More the user count, more your backend will get affected if it is not optimized properly. Okay, and that is the reason, as a performance tester or a performance engineer also, backend is what we will be more interested into in optimizing, because if you optimize something in backend, automatically things will become better in the front end side also, and in the overall for all the users, right? So that is the effect of backend, and it is very self propagatory, right? And that's the reason when you come to performance testing, backend is the most important component you will test. And that obviously using JMeter tool, LoadRunner, and multiple other tools, we will simulate the load, we will analyze, we will report, and all those stuff. For front end, right? Let's say if I want to test front end, then what is the thing? So for front end, generally what we will use, right? We have some tools like GT metrics. Even in Chrome, if you see, let's say I have this website. Okay, maybe I'll open some website. This one. Okay, if I want to do a front end or a GUI testing, we say, okay, in DevTools itself, if you go to this Lighthouse, there's one application called Lighthouse. Okay, here you can test like what you want to test: accessibility, best practices, SEO, and all. Let's focus on performance, right? If I click on performance and I click on analyze page load, it will check for any performance issues in the front end, more sort of, let's say, due to images, JavaScript rendering, CSS, more sort of like UI side issues, right? This is never more like, these are more sort of not generally a code issues or any logical processing issues, but it will be generally due to the uh, not proper optimization of the resources like the CSS, JavaScript, and all. Okay, so generally the issues what you will see here, server issues will be very, I mean, like only thing, yeah, I will show that only some idle time and all, some things will be there which is actually due to server, the wait time and all. But the other things generally will be due to the images or some other things, right, which is reducing the performance in the front end. But as I said, as a performance tester, when you run in JMeter, these issues we don't care or worry much. When it's JMeter, right? When you're testing through JMeter, we will be focusing from this layer, from the load balancer, not even CDN. That I'll explain why we don't even consider CDN. Okay. But we will be starting generally 95% of the time from the load balancer. Now, my question to all of you is, when I open Amazon.com, generally, when I open Amazon.com, if there is a CDN, it will go from CDN to load balancer. Okay. Now, when I'm testing in JMeter, how will I bypass this CDN? Any guess? Like, how will I be able to test it from here?
Maybe with the API.
Yes, APIs. So what will change in that API?
Uh, they'll get the response for the request
Mhm.
from the server side. Maybe we won't see all the content which CDN is
Okay,
having.
just think in this way. Okay,
Images.
this is one CPU with, let's say, some whatever IP. Okay, this is one another
Okay.
CPU with IP2. Okay,
Mm,
how does CDN know that I need to go from IP1 to IP2? So surely
mm,
there is one endpoint, right?
correct.
Right. So if I want to test it from here, what I do, I will not use Amazon.com. I will use this endpoint. That is, let's say
Hello,
Amazon.lb.com.
Correct.
Right.
hello,
So if I use this endpoint, I will be able to test from load balancer and whatever is there behind. Okay. Now let's say if I
hello.
want to test it. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. Any questions?
Sir, can I know what is CDN?
Sure, it's a content delivery network. I will explain in detail, okay, what it is in the soon in the upcoming sessions. Okay. So content delivery network
Okay,
is
okay.
actually used for delivering your images and all, images, files and all, which are heavy. So I'll explain, okay, what it is in detail. It is for generally improving the performance we put the CDN. Okay. Yeah. Right. So CDN is nothing but it's called a content delivery network, we call it. So what is CDN? What is the importance of CDN? Soon I will cover. Okay. So yeah, coming to here. Now after load balancer, I have the web server and all, okay, whatever it is. And then I have the DB server, right? So in all these cases, right, there is an endpoint in between. So if I want to isolate something, if I want to test something in isolation, What I need to do in my JMeter script is very simple. I just need to change this endpoint. Are you getting my point, all of you? I know it might be a little early for you to grasp, but when you see it in
So that
action,
means
yeah. Mhm.
you mean to say we don't get this enter content download and we just get the HTTP response what we expect from the transaction. That's what you're saying.
Not like that. So what I'm saying is, let's say I'm testing. Okay.
Mm,
Now
mm.
the problem area is load balancer. Hmm?
Okay.
And this is good. Like whatever is there till this, it is working good. Okay. But
Okay.
how will I
Mm.
identify? Right? How will I identify that load balancer is the problematic area? So I will have to test one test with this, one test with whole, and then I can subtract and see, right? Whether how much
Yes.
is the. So how do I do that? So based on the endpoints. So for
Mm.
every layer has a different endpoint.
Okay.
So we will directly hit the load balancer URL, right?
Yes. So when you hit the load balancer, automatically other things will also get hit, right? You cannot
Mm.
hit only load balancer because that doesn't make sense, right? Because there is no application at all. Application is lying here, right? So what you do is, see, okay, simple, okay. Let's say, I'm just putting boxes, okay. So this is the load balancer I have here. Then this is the application, what I have. And let's say this is the DB of that application, okay. So when I hit from the load balancer, the request will go from load balancer to application, application to DB, then it will come back again as a response and it will come, right? Now let's say I found out total time it took is 10 seconds, okay. Now let's say I ran a test where I hit the app, it goes to the DB application, it comes back and here. So this one I found it is taking only 5 seconds. So how much did the load balancer take then? Are you able to find out from this?
5 seconds.
Like how much time my request took inside load balancer? It's 5 seconds, right? Straightforward.
5 seconds.
10
Yes.
minus 5.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
this 5 seconds, if I want to optimize, right? I need to find this 5 seconds first, right? So I will have
Correct.
to run two tests, test one and test two. And from that I can find out what's the
Correct.
latency or what's the issue. And then based
Correct.
on that, I can analyze and improve. So how do I do that? Based on the endpoint. This will have endpoint one, this will be endpoint two. Just by changing the endpoint, I can change the position from where I am testing. Are you
Okay.
all getting?
Yeah. Whether we are
Right?
sending the traffic from load balancer or directly to the application.
Yes, exactly. Right. Okay. So why I was saying this is because this is very important for us to understand. Okay, because this is how you can find the issue in each layer of your architecture, right? And this is so that's why you should know what all is there in your architecture step by step. Though you don't know in depth, but you should at least know what are the steps in your architecture when you analyze your application. Okay, which is very, very important. Okay. Now coming to,
Once again, Vishnu,
yeah, yeah,
this is my first class actually. You
yes,
are
yes,
saying
yeah.
about load balancer, right? Are
Yeah.
you mentioning about the tool JMeter? Is that a load balancer?
No, 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 no. I will come to that. Okay. JMeter is a tool which you use to test this application. Now I am speaking about the application
Okay.
in your hand. Okay.
I'm asking about what is load balancer.
Yeah, I am
And
coming to that. Yes, I am coming to that next. Okay. So now let's try to understand some in detail, little bit on what is CDN, what is load balancer. Okay. Now let's say I have an application. Okay. Again, I will take some am.com. Okay. This is my application. Now, when you open an application in Chrome, okay, how that journey happens, okay, let me explain you that first before I jump into CDN and load balancer now. Okay. When I type amazon.com, generally, if I go to this, like let's say if I open an application and I put Amazon.com here. I go to network. Okay, so when I open Amazon.com, if you see here, if I go to this performance here, okay, and if I just try to reload it using this, I'm just profiling it. Okay, I'll explain why I'm doing it. Yeah, till this loads, let me go to network. And if I go to that important request, okay, which is here, and if I just go to the timing, are you seeing various steps here in that? Queuing, stall, request and waiting for server response, content download. Able to see that?
Correct. Yes.
So what are these things, right? We need to understand. So because each of them is actually adding to this 725 milliseconds, right? Which is very, very important, right? What is these things, right? So how does that total journey happens, right? So let's try to understand that. Now, when I type Amazon.com, what first thing will happen is something called a DNS lookup. Now, what is this DNS lookup, right? So see, let's say I am owner of an application. Let's say some edu.com. Okay, I'm owner of this application, and let's say my code, whatever I have written, right? My server has an IP of 112.1.3.3. Okay. Now Pradeep comes and I ask Pradeep to type this IP. We call it the external IP. When Pradeep enters the external IP in Chrome, if you see this application like this, right? For example, the one which we had, the demo application, this one. So this is an IP address which I entered. So that application opened, right? So Pradeep opened the edu.com using this IP. But which is easy for Pradeep? Is edu.com easy or this one? Which is easy?
Edu.com.
Edu.com, right? Now, the problem here is when Pradeep types edu.com, actually what that should trigger an action. The action it should trigger is it should open this IP. Are you getting my
Yes.
point?
Yes.
Right? So that is what we call the first step where we have this DNS lookup, right? What happens in this DNS lookup is it will look for the DNS. So DNS is nothing but, let me open one website for you so that I can show what is this DNS in action. I have few domains with me, so I can show you how that domain mapping happens, okay, in the background. You would have heard this GoDaddy and all, right? Always.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
GoDaddy. Yeah.
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 So when you buy a domain, right? For example, let's say if I go to one, if we go to my account home, and let me open this one. And if I go to this DNS here, so what I did is actually, right, this petix.com, I bought from Cloudflare. Okay. So now why should I buy this petix.com from Cloudflare? Because if I buy it, no one else can buy it now. That domain, right? Because let's say Pradeep is searching petix.com, I am searching petix.com, even let's say Krishna is searching petix.com, all of them search for petix.com, it should go to same IP, isn't it?
Correct. Yes.
Right? So someone has to maintain this record. Are you getting my point? That
Yes.
okay, spetix.com has already been bought by Pradeep. This is very, very important, right? So that
Mm.
work is done by these domain registrars, we call it. Okay, so Cloudflare, GoDaddy, all of them are those people who actually manage that repository of record, right? Now let's say if one day I can buy Amazon.com, will I be a billionaire or not?
Yeah, obviously.
Yes, but I cannot, right? Because Amazon.com already has been bought by Amazon and they are properly managing it, right? So that no one can uh, buy that domain or no one can actually hack their domain and take it for their name, right? So you can do that because if I can hack this DNS record, right, of Amazon, it is mine. Okay, so now let's try to understand what is this DNS record. So once I buy this domain from a domain registrar like Cloudflare, GoDaddy, or someone, they will give me this dashboard. Okay, here if I go to DNS records, I can put my IP. So this A record, there are different types of records. This A record is actually the IP address of my, I mean, like if I want to connect my CPU, right, to which in which my code is lying, then that I need to add as an A record in my DNS. And this is the IP address which I will give. Now, whenever someone types petix.com, Cloudflare will take care that it will go to this IP address. Now, this whole procedure of looking into DNS, finding the IP, right? Till finding IP is called actually the DNS lookup. This whole procedure is called the DNS lookup. Now, this DNS lookup will take some time, isn't it? Based on your domain registrar or based on who your registrar is, how fast they are delivering your IP, isn't it? To
Yes.
your right. So
Correct.
once you get your IP, so let's say 1 second of delay is there. Generally, it won't be 1 second, might be milliseconds, 100 milliseconds, 50 milliseconds. Then once your IP is here, what it will do? My Chrome browser will search for the IP in the network. Now, if my IP, I mean like the CPU is very fast, who that server, this network finding, right, the time required to find that IP in the network will be fast. And once the CPU is found, whatever request my browser was sending will go inside the CPU, process it, and it will come back as a response. So what I send is a request. Now why I call it request? I am requesting, right? I am saying, please give me this. Please log in that user. Please send me these details. So it's a request, right? I am sending to the server, right? Now whether the server will, okay, I'm just going to Krishna's home. I'm saying, Krishna, please give me maybe a glass of water, right? Now now what Krishna will do? Krishna will check whether I am really his friend or not, or am I some thief, or am I some someone who has come to just see okay how his home is and then come and do something, right? So he will verify whether whoever is requesting is a correct person or not, and what he is requesting can I give. Like if I ask a glass of water, yes, Krishna can give me, but if I ask, let's say, give me all of your wife's gel, it's a difficult thing, right? He will not give me. So so again, based on the request, right, what is going to the, I think Krishna is already married, right? Sorry, sorry for that. Krishna, I hope
No,
uh,
no.
not yet. Okay, okay, right. Maybe future.
Yeah,
Okay.
about actually.
Right, right. So yeah, so glass of water, yeah, then Krishna will agree I'm his friend. Okay, he will give me he will give me a glass of water. Or the other thing, he will, anyways, he will deny, I cannot give, right? So same thing happens with the request. So if a request goes to a server, I will say, please log in this user. The user's username and password is this. Now if that username exists and the password is correct, response will come. Otherwise, response will not come, right? Now, whether the response will come or not come, based on that, we have something called a response code or a status code, we call it. So based on the status code, I can say in a high level way that whether there was some response from my server or not. Okay, so we have the request, we have the response, we have something called a status code, which is very, very important. Okay. Now coming to the main part, what is the CDN and load balancer? Now in this whole process, which I said, right, this starting from here to here, where do you think the load balancer comes into picture? Or the CDN comes
It
into
should
picture?
be load balancer should be before the web browser, web servers.
Mm-hmm.
So and CDN should be an entity, independent kind of entity, where you can
Mm-hmm.
just dump the get the content. That's what
Exactly.
my
Okay.
understanding.
So when my browser sends a request, okay, now onwards I will not split DNS, IP and all. Everything is covered here. Okay. Just assume it's there already. Okay. Now, once it sends the request, it will first hit or it will cross something called a CDN. Now, when it crosses a CDN, it doesn't mean that, I mean, like, it's like a merger that will happen. Okay. So CDN and let's say a load balancer. Basically, this is how the things will happen, but you can draw it in this way. After CDN, it will go to load balancer. So now let me explain what is a CDN and a load balancer one by one. So let me draw first the CDN. So I have the CDN, then I have the whole backend. Okay, backend. I will just mark it as backend. Now, what is a CDN guy? Okay, let's try to understand that. Okay, and obviously, when the response comes, it will come, and whatever response is there, your browser will show you. Right now, let's try to understand quickly what is a CDN. Let's say I am writing a code. Okay, now for this code, I will need some images. I will need some, maybe some files, right? All those things will be required. And obviously my code, whatever I'm writing, is this one. Now, what if I can separate these two things? I separate the code and these files into two different CPUs. Or I will say, I mean like two different, totally two different servers. I keep code in one server, I keep code in, I keep image and file in different server. And obviously, see, generally, if I want to, when I'm writing a code, let's say, I'm, if you see here, this is some HTML, right? When you write an HTML code, how do you call an image? You give the source, right? Are you getting? You give the source link. This is the link that, okay, HTTP dot whatever, the from where that image is coming. That link you will give in the HTML. Now this link I can give from any website, right? Are you getting my point? Even I can give the link from like, it doesn't matter that it has to be in the same CPU or the same host. It can be in a different host also, right? So what the people do is, that link is there, right? The image links, that will be your CDN link. Okay, and code will be in your own I mean like own server. Now, why people do this? Why that separation, right? In a very simple way, it is to speed up your system. Now, how does it speed up your system, right? Let's come to that. If I want to open an image, what should be my CPU characteristics, right? Let's say I split it into disk, CPU, and RAM. So, which should be like high speed, disk, CPU, or RAM for opening an image?
RAM. RAM.
Uh, okay. Let's say I will put question mark here, and I will say disk. Okay. Now let's say code. Which one? For running your code faster, what should be fast?
RAM should be fast.
RAM should be fast. CPU should be
I think
fast.
No,
Disk should,
CPU. I think CPU.
yeah,
CPU will be
disk can be normal. Okay.
correct.
Now
Correct.
why disk has to be normal, right? The reason, images are heavy in size,
Then,
right? So they have to come out of the disk very fast. Now code will be in just KBs, right? So disk will not matter much. It will anyways give you that fast, okay, because it's just KB. But the processing, the object creation, RAM will handle the object creation, processing, CPU will handle. So it should be faster. Now, can anyone say what is your assumption? Like, what is your intuition? Is disk costly or CPU RAM costly?
Actually, RAM is
CPU
a
RAM
part of
costly.
CPU, right?
RAM is that's what
Yeah,
like
this
it.
is costly.
So
Hello.
see, when I say CPU here, I have splitted into, okay, let's say processor, okay, maybe to
Yeah.
make it more simple for you. Okay, let me keep processor. Yeah.
So
Okay.
processor is costly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Then
So
anything.
if you
Yeah.
compare disk and this processor RAM combination, actually this is costly. Okay, in a I mean like in a more sort of like a economical way I'm saying. Okay, for the same amount of thing, CPU and RAM is costly. Disk is not that costly. But let's say if I have to run both of them together, I mean like in the same CPU, then I will need all of them high, isn't it? Disk also high, CPU also high, RAM also high,
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
right? Now think of a condition when I'm delivering. So what we observe is generally when I'm delivering all of them together, I will need 10 CPUs. Okay.
Hmm.
Now let's say when I split it, what happens is sometimes I need only 2 CPU and let's say 3 CPU. So this 3 CPU will be the for images, 2 CPU will be for your code. Now why that 5 CPU reduced? Why?
Just because
Because number of
making
users are reduced,
no, no,
maybe.
Yeah, so see, it's
just
simple, no? It is
separating.
simple. So let's say I have a road. Initially, one truck was going, okay? One truck was going, it was blocking the whole road, right? Now what I did, I divided the road into clear path. Here bike can go easily, okay? Here cars can go easily, okay? So which do you think is more efficient? Like bike and truck together or like this? Which is, which road will be more efficient?
Separated way.
Divided road.
Separated, yes. Bikes can go faster, right? Because they have a specific path now. Now, and cars can go at whatever speed they are in, they can follow that, right? So, but ultimately, there won't be any conjunction in the road with, so that's what happening. We have divided the heavy things and the light things. So, code and the heavy images, files, and all we divide. Now, this division, right? This CPU or this group of CPU, we call it the CDN. And this is our obviously our server, right? Our code and all, whatever is there, it will be on our server. So this part, right, this CPU group or this server, I can say, this server we call it the CDN server. Got it, all of you?
Yeah.
Right. Now my question to all of you, so when if I am having an application and I have some images, files and all, where will I put that images and files? Will I put it in the disk of this or this? Which
We
one?
will put
Disk
on
1 or disk
CDN.
2?
Disk 2.
Yes, in the disk 2. I will put those images in disk 2. In my code, only thing what I will do is I will call that IP or the endpoint whenever I need. Now the beauty of this is this CDN, when I draw, right, I always draw it before load balancer. Okay. Why I drew it like that is the CDN will be always closer to your user, right? For example, let's say my business users are from Mumbai. My CDN will be in Mumbai. Okay,
Yeah.
though my code will be, let's say, in Delhi or somewhere, right? My code CPUs and those things are maybe located in Delhi or whatever, but my CDN will be in Mumbai
Geographically
because,
near to.
yes, geographically they will be near, because so that I can reduce the latency, because these are heavy
Net.
files, right? The images and all. So when my user is downloading those images, he will feel a lot of bandwidth issues. So to reduce that, the CDN will actually be closer to that user. Now let's say my user is there globally, like in US, India, all of the places. So what will happen in that case? No, in that case, what will happen is my CDN actually will have multiple copies. CDN, multiple places. That copy will be there, and all of them will converge to a load balancer, which will be, let's say, in one place. Let's say Delhi, which is actually the code, right? My real code is lying, but still, again, the CDN will be closer to my user. Even your load balancer also, you can have it in multiple places, but actually having the load balance, I mean, like that's backend totally in multiple places is very costly affair. CDN is not that costly. Because why CDN is not costly? Okay, coming to that also. Because if you are using your CPU, I mean, like let's say I'm a business, then I have to set up my CPU in US, set up my CPU in India. It is a big headache, right? CDN. But why it is not costly? Because the CDN is provided as a third-party service.
Third-party service.
Okay, there are a lot of service providers like Akamai and all. Akamai is a very famous CDN provider. Okay,
Correct.
like Cloudflare, Akamai. Now the main question, right? Now I am putting my files, my images in someone else's disk. Now Akamai is a different business, right? They are not my business. Is it safe? Hello, what do you think? Is it safe?
It's a third
No.
party. It's not
Keeping in
safe.
Akamai, yeah, it is definitely not a safe affair, but it's again, it depend on the agreements on the data security and all the stuff, right? So
Now I will show one simple thing. Okay. Now let's say I'm opening Amazon. Okay. Now what do I keep in the CDN? The images, let's say. Okay. But if I right click, can I save the image?
no,
I can, right? So what I meant to say is these images and these things actually you cannot save at all. They are anyways, I mean, like they in some or the other way you can take it from your browser. Okay, so whatever you put on your CDN is actually available to public already. Are you getting my point?
yeah, yes,
Right. So there
anywhere
is
you can
no,
take it, you can take a
yes,
snapshot and take
correct.
it, yeah.
Yeah. So so there is no safety issue there at all because you are sharing something which is already has to be shared with public. Okay, we cannot hide it, right? If you hide it, then no one can see it. Then what's the use of the image, right?
That makes
So
sense, yeah.
so yeah, so that is a very important. Now let me show you this. Okay, let me inspect this. If we
Hello,
click,
sir.
yes, I will come to the questions. I know lot of questions will be there. Surely I'm just stopping in just 2 minutes. Then fully questions. Okay. See now, if you see this URL here, this is the CDN URL of Amazon. Are you able to see? Yeah, it's little small text is, but are
Yeah,
you able to see? It's not the normal URL of Amazon, but it is the CDN URL. See,
okay.
images,
Yes, yeah.
right? So that's how. That's how the CDN works. Okay, see all your images, so those heavy files and all you'll put there, and it will be picked up. Code will happily happen in your server side. It will happily get processed and all. Then after processing, it will come, enter the CDN, all the images and other things will be pulled, and it will show in the browser. Okay, that's how the whole procedure happens. Okay, so that's where the CDN comes into picture. So you put all your images and all in CDN, and in your code you use that link for wherever that images you want to call. I hope all of you are clear now. Any doubts, anyone? And this is just a tip of the iceberg. CDN has more functionalities also, like caching and all. Okay, like
Okay, yeah.
servers, I mean, like the UI caching,
Page
image
caches, yeah.
caching and all those stuff.
Image
Okay,
cache.
the multiple things that we will discuss, okay, when we further see those things. Yeah, now I will take some questions.
Hello.
Okay, yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, in the CDN code also will be there, no? You told me
No,
about
no, no.
code
CDN
and
code will
everything.
not be there. Only the images, files, which, like for example, let's say some
Okay.
PDF file. right? Which the user wants to download.
Okay.
That will be there, right? But no code. I mean, like there's no login code. There is no all the code will be in your server.
Okay. Main server only.
Yes, correct.
Oh.
Because that has to be kept very safe, no? The code is an important part or chunk, which is your application actually. You cannot put it in a CDN.
And another doubt, sir.
Mhm.
This CDN will access that server. I
No,
mean,
no.
then access
CD
the code and the
browser
process.
browser will access the CDN, right? CDN doesn't need to access the server at all. Browser will access. See, now what will browser will do? Browser will access the server and the CDN both, because in your code you have already mentioned that URL, no,
Okay.
for the source.
Yes.
So by seeing the source, what my Google Chrome or browser will do, it will go to that source and pick the image.
Okay.
Are you getting?
So
And this code, this
browser
full
will
code.
access that
Ah,
CDN source
yes, exactly. And this whole code, where is it there? Where is this code there? This whole code,
in the
where is
server.
it coming? In the server. Yes, this code will be in the server. Getting okay? Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Yeah,
Now.
yeah, yeah. Any other questions, anyone? Yeah. Now, why I said about CDN is in the starting itself. I know it might be little complicated for few of you here. Before I start JMeter, because the CDN is a very important component in improving the performance of his application. Okay, because what it does is it will remove all unwanted heavy objects from your server side processing, and it will be happening in a different server. Now the main question, I wanted to reach this
Hello.
question. Okay,
Hello,
so
sir.
do you worry about images in performance testing? That's my question.
Yeah, images.
Yes, sir. I have one doubt.
Yeah, Hari,
Right.
yeah, good, Hari.
Sir,
uh,
sometimes it will take more time to load these images, right?
yes, correct, yes.
Then it will be considered as a performance issue.
No, because then if that is coming from a CDN, we will have to raise a ticket with the CDN provider. That is their headache to solve it.
Okay, so
Okay.
this thing also have to be done by performance testers only. I
No,
mean,
no,
raising
no.
the
We will
ticket to CDN.
we will not worry about images. That's why I said performance testers will never worry about the UI side issues generally.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, UI side issues will be more worried about, like they will be worried who is UI doing the UI testing.
Okay.
But Vishnu, I have one question here.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
that is the case, then how anybody can understand the bottlenecks of the UI with the load?
Mhm. Yeah. So see, what I'm saying here is the bottleneck of UI has to be fixed by the UI tester, the accessibility testing or the UI testing team.
But they do with the single user, right? So they don't do with the load, right?
Exactly,
Actually.
exactly. So that single user, if you have fixed the issue, then the only issue present is the backend, which we are solving, right?
Okay, okay.
Are you getting?
So you mean to say whatever the
Yeah.
load, it doesn't matter for the UI.
Correct.
UI relay.
Exactly.
See, okay,
Right.
okay. Mm, okay.
If your server,
Actually,
yeah, go ahead, Naresh.
Vishnu, but we are doing the testing. How
Hmm.
do you say that these issues are belongs to images because of this performance issues comes because of images? How can we find it?
Because we never put images at all, right, in our script. So you don't need to worry about that at all. In our script, there is no images at all.
Hmm.
That's what we will see, right? In our script, when you do an end-to-end script, there is no image link at all. I mean, like, you will never see something we are calling a media or a JavaScript file or CSS file. We are not
Okay.
calling it at all. We
Hello, sir.
We
worry
will be
clearly on the
completely
code.
working on the API side, right?
Exactly, right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, Naresh. Yeah, please go ahead. Someone was asking a doubt.
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead, go ahead. Hari.
Yes, sir. Sir, so we'll I mean, so we'll go with APIs only, right?
Yeah, so see, when I say API, it's not API, the endpoint, right? Because API is itself a different concept, right? We need to know web services and API. There's a difference, right? But both of them have
Okay.
endpoint, both of them structure is same. Yes, true. But when I say it should be endpoint, I'm saying, right? When I say endpoint, I'm testing the server. I'm not testing the media or files. Okay, I'm testing the server, how the server is processing, how is our server is processing the code faster, right? Is the server able to handle multiple queries in the DB faster? Those are the things I'm worried about. I'm not worried about whether my server is able to give me an image fast. That the UI tester has to test. Okay.
So I didn't understand, sir. What exactly? I mean, we are.
Okay, right.
We mainly focus on.
Let me run. Yesterday we ran a test. Okay, in JMeter. Let me open that. Let me open that application again. Now, if you see, when I'm loading this application, all these files are coming, right? All these files. Able to see CSS, JavaScript, all those files are coming. But when you run a test, you will be considering only this first request. Because this is your main request. Like the code, right? Which is giving you a response. Are you getting my point? You will never hit these requests, which is not required at all, unless there is a specific requirement. Because what you are trying to optimize is this, the server, right?
So,
The server code. Yeah.
so Vishnu, you are saying if there is any specific need of checking the CDN performance, content
hmm
management performance,
hmm
that we have to run a separate test to understand that. That's what you are
Yes,
saying.
exactly. But generally, we will run without all these unwanted files. We will not at all. Like in our script, you will never find these files, CSS, JavaScript, and all. You will find only that request file. Not request file, sorry, request alone in your script. Okay. So when I'm running a test, let me show you. See here. If I'm just running it, okay, just quickly.
Hi Vishnu.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Yeah.
a minute. I
So
will finish this. Mm. See now, if you see here, how many requests I hit? How many?
One HTTP request.
One, right? And what am I testing? I'm testing the code, the main request, right? I am not worried about CSS, JavaScript, and all. Are you able to understand what I'm saying now, Hari?
Okay, only one request you eat.
Yeah, but this is for this page. Now, if I go to the another page, a new request will come, right? For example, let me go to this next page. See, a new request came, right? Able to see? And this request is the next code to get the detail of the socks. Now, similarly, let's say I do add to cart, right? See, a new request came, right? You see here, there's add to cart request or whatever the request, right? This is important. Now, if I go to items in the cart, let me click here. See, basket.html, new request. Able to understand, Hari? Now? Okay, let me explain you this. If I test these things, okay, like with these things, whatever I'm doing, right? do you think it will change with respect to user? I mean, like, if I test something with these files also, do you think?
Mm,
No, it won't change mostly.
Yeah, right. Because see, these files are constant, static.
Yeah, it
They are
is a
not
serial.
changing at all, right?
correct. Mm,
It
So
will
why
keep
should we
track.
test it? So what is changing is our code, right? Our
yes.
code processing, the object
Mm-hmm.
creation in the RAM. So
Mm.
that's what we are worried. So these are like static files. They will never, I mean, like, contribute much to your performance loss.
So I agree, Vishnu, but I have
Yeah,
one question. See, for
yeah,
example,
Rajat.
in a Thanksgiving day, so
Yeah.
millions of billions of transactions will go in
Mm.
enterprise applications.
Correct.
I'm
Yeah.
sitting as a user. I
Mm-hmm.
want to place an order. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting the page, whatever
Mm-hmm.
the page I wanted,
Right.
but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting the images or
Exactly.
look and
That's
feel
a
is
that's a
not.
very good question. But
Yes.
why are you not getting that image? If you have a CDN, they
Correct.
surely will be able to deliver,
Correct.
because that
Yes.
SLA they will satisfy, because at 1
Yeah.
million obviously
Yeah.
you would have signed an agreement with them.
Okay.
Okay. Now
Okay.
if your agreement has only 1 million and if your user is 5 million, they cannot do
Mm.
anything,
Correct. Correct.
right? So
Okay, so
that
that
they will.
means
Yeah.
as part of monitoring,
Mm.
we should be always keep eye on the CDN delivery. How is it whether they are meeting the thresholds or not?
Yes, exactly. Now if CDN is not there,
Mm.
then it's coming from your server. Okay.
Correct, correct.
Still that is fine, because you'd have
Mm.
done a load test, and if in
Mm.
your load test, if your system is able to handle it, and in the
Mm.
UI testing,
Mm.
if UI wise everything is
Mm.
certified, then
Mm. Mm.
automatically things will be okay again.
Okay, okay. Mm.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
So you mean the performance testing will be done after completing the UI or functional testing?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a very,
Obviously,
very good
yeah,
point. Yes.
correct.
Whoever called it out, UI and I mean, like, functional testing has to be complete.
Yes.
At
Mm.
least the success path or the happy path. Okay. Not maybe because we never worry about the error scenarios, that I will explain. Okay. Why and all. But at least the happy path. Now, what is happy path, success path, and all those? Okay. See, now this one, anyways, it's a, I mean, like, as I said, we are going like, I mean, like, it's an overview session, right? I will go each things very clearly. Now, this is for those who are new to all these things. What is happy path, success path, and all those terminologies I am using, right? I will go very slow, okay, in the upcoming sessions. Now, this is like, why I want going little maybe in the faster mode is because it's open to all, right? So I thought, okay, I can, as much as I can give, right, to all. I'm trying to give in that small time frame what I have, right? So that's the thing. But once our normal sessions start, right, in the private group, it will be very slow going. I mean, like, I will go in depth in each and everything with detailed steps and all. Okay, so no worries, especially I know like some are from manual and all, right? So they might be worried, oh, what is these things and all. But are you all understanding whatever I explained till now? Anyone from manual testing, like, anyone? uh, s- uh,
Yes.
is it clear, right? Yeah, Niranjan. Okay. Is Sahana in call? Not sure. Sahana. Okay, maybe. Okay, that's fine, because she was having some doubts. Okay. Yeah, any other doubts, anyone regarding CDN?
Uh, Hi.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, consider we have a requirement where we
Mm-hmm.
need to wait until all the images are loaded in the page.
Mm-hmm.
So here only one image is taking much time. So what
Mm-hmm.
issue we need to raise here as a performance tester?
Again, see, now if the image is not loading, if you are doing a UI testing, yes, you can just say that that image is not. See, now that based on the status code and all, you will have to come, right? Because if there might be like that image doesn't exist in the server at all, maybe,
No, the image
right?
is loading. If it's taking more response time, like if all the images are loading in 3 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
then it is taking 7 to 8 seconds every
Reduce
time
the
when you do
size,
manual
reduce
development.
the size, or
Okay.
increase the bandwidth.
Okay.
Because only the reason why these static files will deliver slow is the bandwidth. Okay,
Okay.
bandwidth is the network bandwidth. Basically, like you have this 500 Mbps, 1 Gbps, and all, right? The speed.
Okay.
So now see, you have a speed of 1 Gbps, and if you are delivering 2 GB, obviously things will be slow, right?
Okay. Got it.
In a second, it cannot handle more than a GB, because that's your maximum bandwidth. 1 GB per second. But let's say you are pulling data of 2 GB in a second, obviously things will get slow because your bandwidth has been run like it's not there enough. So what I'm saying is all the static files, right, the images, CSS and all, they will get affected only due to two reasons. One is your disk speed, second is your bandwidth.
Network.
Yeah, network. Okay. CPU and RAM will never be a bottleneck 90% of the time. Okay, for the static files. Yeah, Raghu, got the
Yeah,
thing?
got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions, anyone? Anything else?
So, Vishnu, so the CDN specific tuning, right? So,
Mhm.
maybe shrinking the images and all this comes under site reliability engineering, or it will comes under performance engineering. What is it?
Yes, see, as I said, these performance improvements will happen parallelly with the UI testing also. Okay, it's not that you should
Correct.
not do it. You can do
Yes,
it
yes.
because
I spot
now,
on.
like for
Yeah.
example, even I know people who are in performance who do automation also.
Yes,
so,
yes,
so
yes.
it's not that
Correct.
you might not
I
do
do
it,
that.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right. So you might have to do, right? It's
Yeah,
not that
yeah.
you should not do. But what I'm
Mhm.
saying is, when we are focusing on the back end, we focus on back end. When we
Correct.
focus on front end, we focus on front end,
Yeah.
right, to reduce the image size. Now see, sometimes what will happen is, see, generally it will not happen with bigger organization, they have some SLAs and all, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
like sometimes 300 KB image would have become 1 MB, right,
Mm.
which is not
Mm.
correct because according to their brand manual it should be 300 KB.
Correct.
Okay, so there are some standards they follow, and based on that standard only the network bandwidth and the disk and all is decided by the architect. Okay, so generally those sort of issues will not come, very rarely it will come, and if it comes also it will get caught in the UI testing and they will fix it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, because those issues can be found from single user also.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that is there, but the performance issues, right, which happens on the server side cannot be
Mm.
caught with one user, right,
Correct.
because
Definitely.
it
Yeah.
has to
That,
be multi-threaded. Yeah,
yeah. That's the reason we are doing performance
yes,
testing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
right.
Correct.
Yeah, now one
Hello.
question to all of you. Okay, in tomorrow's session you can come with the answer. Okay,
Yeah. Sure.
this, before I go to the next question answer, okay, I will put this question to all. Okay, please listen to this very carefully. Okay, let's say I have auto scaling set up in my application. Now, what auto scaling is in simple way is how much resource you want, that much resource you will get. Okay, based on the
Okay.
user count, it will keep adding the CPU more and more. Okay,
It's
that's
kind
the
of
auto
cloud.
scaling. Yeah,
Cloud
kind
kind
of
of.
kind of cloud. Yeah, if you need 5 CPU, you will get 5 CPU. If
Mm.
your user increases, you need 6 CPU, you get 6 CPU, right?
Mm.
Now,
Mm.
my question to all of you is, when I'm doing performance testing,
Can you
if my
please
auto
repeat the
scaling,
question?
yeah. So what I'm saying is,
Hello?
let's say I have an application. Okay, and in that application we have auto scaling. What is auto scaling? Simple. If your application needs 1 CPU and now number of user increases, your CPU has to increase because more resource you need, right? So it becomes 2 CPU, 3 CPU, 4 CPU, like that. Auto scaling is that, right? That I mean, like, that algorithm or that feature is called auto scaling, where you can automatically add CPUs in the cloud to your application. You don't need to monitor, cloud will take care. Okay, so let's say 100 users, 1 CPU I wanted, 200 users, 2 CPU I need, 300 users I need 3 CPU. Okay, and generally your response time will increase because your resources are not enough. Is that statement correct? I mean, like, clear to all? Generally
Yes,
your
sir.
response time will increase because your resource has some issues.
Correct.
Okay,
Mm.
now the question to all of you is, if I have auto scaling set up in my
Mm.
application,
Mm-hmm.
if I increase the number of users, will my response time increase or not?
If you
No.
increase the what resources?
Yeah, if I have auto scaling set up in my
Correct. Correct.
application,
Yes.
in an
Yes.
ideal scenario,
Uh huh.
when
Mm.
my number of users increases, will my
Mm.
response time increase?
It depends on code also. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I use the word ideal. Okay.
Correct.
Let's say it's an ideal scenario.
Code is
I have auto
ideal,
scaling.
then even yes, Vishnu, whatever the
Mm.
configuration you have,
Mm-hmm.
so definitely response time will increase because um, the server should respond, right? So the processing time will be there, right? So to serve the
Okay,
request.
then coming to the next
And
question. Next question. Then
uh,
why I
uh,
need auto scaling?
Sir,
If my response time will increase, at one time it will hit 100 seconds and my
Okay.
whole application will
no,
fail.
it won't increase
resources.
exponentially. I mean to say,
Mm-hmm.
increase means it is
Mm-hmm.
not like 100 users, it is 2 seconds, and 200 users
Yeah.
are
Mm-hmm.
double.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Yeah.
exponentially. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying exponentially, but it definitely increase the
Exactly.
response.
Okay.
Yeah,
Exactly. So when you have auto scaling, your response time will remain in a range.
correct,
Okay. It will not go beyond that range. Okay. So you can say that your average response time will be always constant,
correct,
irrespective of how many number of users you're adding. Even you add 1,000 users, 10,000 users, if your auto scaling is correct, your response time will never increase. The average will be same.
correct.
Okay. Now this is
Sir,
something
but resources
for
are limited.
yes, resources are limited. Yes. So it's not that you can keep on adding the
Then
CPU, right? There is
And
money
yes,
behind it.
mm,
Like 5 CPU, 10 CPU, you have to pay, right? One CPU is, let's say, 5K. You have to, if you're putting 10 CPU, it is 50K per day,
correct.
not per month or per year. Okay. I know like a client whom I had a project with. They used
Mhm.
to pay 800 crores to AWS
Oh my
in a
God.
year. In a year.
Oh,
Okay. So it
oh,
was 800 crore, not 1 or 2 rupees, for only the CPUs, the infrastructure to run their
oh.
code.
Okay.
So
There
think about,
maybe.
yeah, think about if you save even a 1% of RAM for them.
Correct.
Okay, that
It's
800
very
crores, one
costly.
percentage, right?
Yeah.
You
Mm.
can maybe you can just ask a double hike
Double heck.
after
Or
that.
shares. You
Yeah,
can ask shares also.
right, right.
Yeah.
So that's the impact actually performance can bring directly. Okay, performance testers can save dollars very directly, which actually functional or other testing practices little difficult.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
and direct visibility is possible if you properly analyze, if you bring that dollar saving, no, that high visibility is there for performance testing. But what happens generally in the industry is they stick to testing and stick to whatever they are given the task, right? They are not going little further. So that
And
actually,
Vishnu,
yeah.
it is very
Hmm.
difficult to bring this ROA metrics also in
Hmm.
the performance testing, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
you don't know that you may
Hmm.
be knowing the business growth, but you
Yeah.
cannot claim it is because of
Yes,
this.
yes, that is true. That is true. But always I can claim the number of resources I reduced, right? For example,
Yeah. Yes, that's true. Yeah.
if I am tuning an application and initially the application had 100 pods, okay, I did a capacity planning and brought that 100 pods to, let's say, 50 pods.
Yes.
So clearly, I have brought down the cost, that I know,
Correct.
though
Correct.
I
Yeah.
don't know how much, right?
Correct.
But I
Mm.
clearly know that I have brought down the cost,
Yeah.
and that is more than enough, right, for me.
Yeah. 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 Yes.
Yeah, so that's where the play of performance is all about, and people will never think twice to pay you if you do that.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. Actually, if you see the Amazon I mean, like in Amazon, one of my colleagues, like close friend, he's working. So he saved something around. I mean, like they did some performance optimization and all, and they saved 0.1 percentage of the resources what they were using. And in a year, they saved around some $10 million or something for that, due to
Oh.
that 0.1 percentage
Yeah.
resource saving. Okay,
Yes.
so that's the amount of
Hello,
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
sir. Actually, I have one doubt.
Harit, yeah.
In some peak hours, like some giving
Hmm.
some summer sale offers like that.
Hmm.
At that time, some loading issues will be there. Na?
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Some users
Hmm.
can't access.
Yeah, yeah.
Then whatever you said, right? It will keep on increasing the CPUs. Then in that scenario, how it can be
Very good
suit.
question, Hari. Yeah, I can see like clearly you are able to, I mean, like you are thinking as an architect now itself. Okay, that's a very good question. Okay, so see, Now, the thing is, when you are setting up something which can increase, right? Obviously, you will put a higher limit also, right? You will not
There will
keep
be
it
a
open,
threshold,
Yes.
right?
threshold for
You will keep it
anything.
threshold, right? You will keep a threshold 10 or 15 or 20
It's
because
not like infinite.
yeah, it cannot be infinite, right? Even AWS cannot give you infinite CPU, right?
Correct.
They will also have a limited CPU only with them. So there is something called a maximum replica, okay, or maximum threshold which
Okay.
we set. Then that based on that, even if it's a spike, right, which is happening, beyond that CPU will not increase. User will have to face
Okay.
some slowness. Yeah. And that's where we will do the spike test, endurance test. We will see all those stress test, load test, so that in various different scenarios, things are certified. Okay. Yeah, I can understand how Hari is feeling bad that I couldn't buy an iPhone in my Flipkart flash sale. Is it Hari?
Yes, sir. Sometime I missed some offers.
Yeah, yeah. Now Hari will learn performance testing and he will go and find out, okay, how I can handle the flash sale next time.
Ah,
Early birds.
yes, sir.
Yeah,
Early
yeah,
birds.
yeah. Right. Yeah. Any other doubts, anyone?
Yeah. So are you going to say about API testing in is a part of training?
Yes, Krishna. Yeah, yeah. API testing, REST API, we will speak about. SOAP and all, I don't have a demo, but I will share some material so that you can read more on.
So for API testing, you use JMeter only, right?
Yes, yes, all API, HTTP, JDBC, SMTP, FTP. JMeter is a world full of protocols. You can test a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And are you going to say about any performance tuning techniques using SQL?
SQL, actually, there is my another course on database performance engineering. It's a full course. Okay, so, but yeah, in a high level way, surely I will explain. Okay, few things
Mm.
how you can optimize a query. But
Are
again,
you, are,
but yeah,
yeah, are
yeah,
you
Krishna.
going to use any tools for that?
For SQL tuning.
Mm.
Yeah, so no, see, SQL tuning as such, database side tuning, I will not, I'm not covering here, right? Because it's a different course as such. But I
Okay.
will help you out or I will explain you how to find issues in your application, right? Bottlenecks.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can report and DB obviously, see, generally when you're starting off with, you will not go and tune anything. You will be
Mm.
giving the issues. So they will tune it for you.
Yeah.
You are not a developer, right? But when you are in the range of, let's say, 15 14 years of and all, then you will have to optimize the query, use some hint and all, use like there are multiple ways to do that. You read an AWR report, do some performance, but that becomes performance engineering, not testing.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Tuning.
Yes, yes, correct. So that is not expected for people who are maybe 5 to 6 years of experience, right? Beyond
Mm.
that, only that performance engineering will start actually. Beyond six
Yeah.
plus years, people expect. Okay. Then
Yeah.
after 10 and all, obviously the DB side will also be expected. DB performance engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, in my team, whenever we say about any performance issues,
Mm-hmm.
then that whenever we call
Mm-hmm.
when we call with developers, they
Yeah.
used to ask us that what we had, what we need to do improve, what we at what.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe you
What's
can
your requirement?
send my DB performance engineering course to them.
Uh,
Let them let them learn how to improve a query performance.
No, actually, it is not even the developer. I won't say it is a
Yeah.
all again a developer responsibility. The
Yeah.
DB admin will be there and
Correct.
to
DBA. Yes.
yeah
Yeah.
DBA should be there and
Yeah.
take care of those.
Exactly. Right. Right. DBAs will generally do those things like all the performance engineering of DB. So maybe in your team DBA is not there. I don't think so. It will be that case.
No, no, without DB, how it will
Yeah.
be?
So maybe developers are asking this question. So I thought, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vishnu, what are the APM tools are going to cover in this, and how
Yeah.
long that
AppDynamics.
JMeter
Uh-huh.
advanced level scripting like Groovy,
Yeah,
Beanstalk?
yeah, right, right. So we will be covering Bean Shell, not Groovy. Groovy is little outdated with JMeter. Bean Shell is what is more apt for JMeter currently. Groovy is more common in Jenkins and all nowadays. Okay, not in
Mhm.
JMeter. So Bean Shell will be covering. And AppDynamics will be covering, Grafana, Prometheus will be covering, and obviously the CI/CD part, Jenkins.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Datadog and Dynatrace,
No, no,
any
no.
high
That
level?
then this course will become a monitoring course, not a JMeter course.
Okay.
I'll be just covering the monitoring tools.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
nowadays most of the people are asking for
correct. Yeah,
Dynatrace.
but
That's it.
very common only. If you learn AppDynamics, Dynatrace, you can easily learn. I mean, like
Mhm.
it's just like brother and two brothers. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
But main
And
focus will be on JMeter, as I said. See, now here there are
Mhm.
multiple audience, right? Starting from
Yeah, yeah.
fresher to so JMeter, we will go very in depth, and also because obviously we cannot skip that, right? That's the ultimate course all about, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We are expecting, yeah, in depth in JMeter with
Yes,
advanced
yes, correct.
technology,
Yeah, yeah.
advanced scripting.
JMeter, we will be going in depth, and this architecture and all is just the starting point. And
Mhm.
again, I don't expect anyone who is maybe just starting off the career with, or maybe 2 3 years of experience, to know all these things very well. Whatever I am speaking in a high level way, if you understand also, that's enough. Okay. But
Mhm.
JMeter, I will expect all of them to be very well. I mean, like very good at. Like if you're in 2 3 years of experience or four, scripting you should be really good at. So any application, any protocol you get, you should be good at that scripting of that application. Okay. Yeah.
Hello.
No,
Yeah. Yeah, Hari.
actually, for
Mm.
performance testing, which
Hello.
script is
Sir,
required to learn?
I heard two questions together, like two users are hitting same server. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
hello.
So which request I should take first, Hari or Naresh?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Take Naren, sir.
Okay, Naresh. Yeah, go ahead.
No, the thing is, you people mentioned Beanish and all, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
do
Naresh.
you
Yeah.
use any scripting for this performance testing? Like,
Scripting means, see, bean shell, why we use, no? There are some predefined script which we have, okay, which is basically like, let's say if you have to write some data to a file, right? For such things and all, you use a small bean shell script that we will see by the end of the course. But that also, anyways, I have some predefined, and I will teach you some techniques using, like now, new generation, like we have some tools, right? Like AI and all, how you can generate those scripts easily. That I will teach, okay? So
oh,
no worries
okay,
that you don't need to write anything. Let AI
oh,
write. Let AI
okay.
do that job for you.
The reason is I am being manual
Yeah.
testing, so
Yes, yes.
it
No issues, no
not
issues. You won't be like, you won't need to write any code. See, nowadays even the heavy CPU and I mean like the C programming and Java programming is done by AI. Okay, so this bean shell and all is just a piece of cake.
okay.
So
Thank
we can easily generate AI. I will explain. Okay, how to, which prompt to use, how to use. I will explain. Okay.
you. Okay, okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, Naresh. Yeah.
again, Vishnu,
Hello.
last question.
Yeah,
Sorry for
Pradeep.
asking this.
Mm.
Already you extended more than 28 minutes. So again, Vishnu, compared to other tools, right? So JMeter still have again having this, when we are working with the scripting and all the dynamic sessions correlation
Yes,
part
yes, yeah,
again.
yeah. They are those are like every performance testing tool should have, right? It's called correlation,
Uh,
right? Yeah, that's a
yeah,
functionality.
correlation.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
It's there.
asking like, is it easy or now it becoming easy or it is still?
Actually, if you see,
Uh,
scripting in JMeter is maybe far more easier than doing in LoadRunner and other tools, because
okay,
JMeter
okay,
is just like drag and drop, right? Like a page
correct,
builder,
correct,
right?
correct.
But LoadRunner is more sort of, if you see, it's a small C code which you try
Yeah,
to edit and all.
correct,
It's a little complicated there.
correct,
So
correct.
correlation is actually easier in JMeter compared to
Oh,
LoadRunner.
okay, great,
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. Yes. It's
Yeah,
far
Vishnu,
more
one
easy.
more.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
one
Yeah.
question. Yeah, so to do the scripting in the JMeter, so like in Roadrunner, so we are using some other third-party tools like Harpiles
Hmm.
and all, right?
Yeah.
So is there any necessaries there in JMeter scripting part?
Nothing like that. We have some plugins and all, which I will
Yeah,
teach what to be done and all. But otherwise,
yeah.
no, nothing we need some third party and all. Nothing like that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
yeah, earlier I had got a question from interviewer, so maybe they
Uh-huh.
are working on load runner. So they asked
Okay.
me that yeah, JMeter do use this without that how we are doing the scripting in JMeter.
Okay, yeah. Because JMeter, see, there are something called BlazeMeter plugin and all, which is for recording, right? A scenario
Correct,
and all.
correct.
But that is not required. Okay, you
Yeah, yeah.
can do it with solely JMeter also. And
Mhm.
now, if you see, I did some CURL method, right? By
Mm.
using the CURL. There are some methods like that, easy methods. I will teach. Okay, so
Okay, yeah.
nothing like that. Because that's required also. When you're working in an organization, you might not be allowed to install, right?
Yes.
So you need to know other methods also without using third-party softwares.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hello.
Raghu, you had some doubt? You are raising
Yeah.
your hand.
Yeah. So, do every website support JMeter testing, or there any limitations?
Limitation is website itself, right? If your website
Okay.
doesn't allow performance testing, we cannot. Because now think
And
of a
one.
situation. Can you test Amazon.com?
No.
No, they will block, right? Because let's say there is a flash sale, Hari is trying to order iPhone, and you run a test of 100 users. Gone, right?
No. Yeah.
so so that's the thing. So your application has to be, I mean, like it should be available for performance testing, right? Then only you will be able to test. I mean, like they shouldn't block an IP, right? If you hit through an IP more than once, twice, or thrice, they will block it. So that is there in the production, but in the performance environment, they will not switch it on. That sort of, I mean, like what is it called? That algorithm. Okay, so you will be able to test in the perf environment. So that's the only limitation. Otherwise, JMeter can test anything. Okay.
And
Yeah.
one more thing, generally we do
Mm.
API testing with Postman, right? So if
Yeah.
we want to do the same API testing in JMeter, do we
Mm.
connect the Postman to JMeter, or how it works? Or we create a new HTTP request
No,
in
no, no.
JMeter?
If you are using Postman already, if you have an API, you can directly import it to JMeter.
Okay, so directly HTTP request and we can add it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
How it works?
We can
Okay.
easily do that. I will show that how to do that. Okay.
So we don't have to connect with Postman too. Yeah, no need.
No need to connect. You can directly import it to JMeter also using some method. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Even if you use some fiddler and all, we will see the mobile app testing, right? When we see, when we will speak about that, that time we will speak about one tool called fiddler. Okay, fiddler or Charles proxy, any of this. So from fiddler, you can import to JMeter also. That also we will see how.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
Krishna. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we also import the LoadRunner script to JMeter?
Vice versa is possible. I mean, JMeter you can run in Performance Center directly, JMX file. You don't need to even need a LoadRunner file. You can directly run a JMX file in Performance Center. Uh, LoadRunner, if you want to import directly to JMeter, directly is not possible. You have to capture capture those requests in a fiddler or something. Okay,
Okay.
then you can import it to JMeter.
Okay. And
Yeah.
in LoadRunner we have auto correlation feature, but
Hmm.
in the same feature we have in JMeter also
Yes.
auto
JMeter also
correlation.
we have it. Yes. But no one uses it, frankly. Okay. It's not reliable at all. Even LoadRunner also, I always suggest
Yeah,
not to do auto.
yes.
Yeah.
LoadRunner also
Yes.
doesn't make any sense for
Yes.
autocorrelation.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe with AI, if something happens, I don't know. But till now, it is worst case.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Right. It's actually
And
a big headache if you do autocorrelation because
correct,
again
correct,
you will have
correct.
to find where is that issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vishnu,
And
one question, last question. So
Yes.
how similar the NeoLoad with the JMeter? Is there any similarities is there?
Actually, this NeoLoad is a son of LoadRunner and JMeter. Okay. If you see the UI of NeoLoad, no, it will be similar to JMeter.
JMeter.
The way things work is like LoadRunner, right? The
Okay.
runtime settings and all those. So you can say it's like they are the like NeoLoad is the son of LoadRunner and JMeter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
And
so see,
J
but one thing to all, if you learn one tool, no, like let's say if you learn JMeter, other things will become very easy for you to learn. Okay, it won't be very tough for you.
which
Also,
so I have one question. So by using the JMeter, we can do the scenario where we can test the geographically, distribute the load geographically, and like using the cloud
Yeah.
servers,
Distributed testing we
Amazon,
can do. Yeah.
Rackspace, and all. We
Yes.
can do
Yeah.
that. We
Yes.
can
We can do
deploy
that.
those servers and do it.
System.
Correct. Yeah. We can do that.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, Krishna.
Yeah. Are you going to cover any version control systems like GitHub, Bitbucket in this training?
GitHub, I can give an overview, but not like I mean, like I don't have a specific demonstration to show. But GitHub, I can give an overview what it is, how generally things, maybe script and all. You can maybe upload to GitHub and run it from there. Maybe some things I can show, but again, it's little out of scope. But
Okay.
in a high level way, I can show. Okay.
Okay. And
Yeah.
Jenkins is not a monitoring tool, right?
No, no, no. It's an automation tool.
Okay.
CI/CD.
Not
Yeah.
a monitoring.
No, no, no.
Okay.
Any projects we are covering
Hello.
here?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Hello.
Uh, yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Sir, in this course, you are covering the JMeter and LoadRunner also.
No, no. Only JMeter. Yeah. Please don't say LoadRunner because in this 40 hours, I will not be able to cover all those things. So only JMeter, not LoadRunner.
Because,
Yeah,
because some companies use the LoadRunner also, right?
yeah.
So
But
that's why I'm
the thing is, then I will have to start another course on LoadRunner, not this one, because in 40 hours we cannot.
asking.
Yeah, cover all this.
And monitoring tools also you are covering, no?
Yes, yes. Yeah, that we are doing. Yes. Now, not all the
Okay.
monitoring tools, but whatever I mentioned, the Grafana, Prometheus, AppDynamics, and yeah. So these are the main thing.
Yeah,
And
Vishnu.
this
Any projects
Dynatrace
we are
comes under
covering here?
monitoring tool or it comes under
Dynatrace is
performance?
comparable with AppDynamics.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a profiling tool, not a monitoring tool.
And one more one more
Hmm.
question.
Yeah,
And
Hari.
are you providing us any project, any major project or minor project like that, so that we can thoroughly understand the concepts?
Yeah, yeah. We have the application, our own application. No, we will be testing on that application only from end to end, from starting from planning to execution to report to analysis, right? So it will be like a project work only.
Okay.
Yeah, and all this will be there in your system. So you will be able to do it anytime, even after the course also.
Okay. We need to do the, I mean, test planning, documentation, all these things.
Yeah, yeah, I will be showing that.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And good thing about my like it's for everyone, okay? See, generally my batch runs one after another always, right? Like just yesterday only, I mean like day before yesterday only I finished my last batch. Now this is the next batch, right? So good thing is once you join my one batch, you can always join my other batches also. So you are not, I mean like our course is not for like our relationship is not ending in 40 hours. It will be there always. You just need to join my next batch. I mean like whatever doubts and all you will have, even by seeing the recordings and all, right? You can always come back to me. You can join that session. Even you can speak to me through WhatsApp, right? So that is always there, that option. So no need to worry that whether I'll be able to complete in this 40 hours, okay? Because it's a never ending journey. So yeah, and my course never stops. It keeps coming. Like actually, I'm not able to take more. That's the problem. But with whatever time frame I have, I am taking. But yeah, but it's always coming. Okay, one after another.
No, Vishnu, you are already taking more. No problem. We are happy for
Right.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
because actually in my schedule, because what happens, no, it's not only this. Actually, if you see, the taking classes is just it's my passion. Okay, I
correct,
do it
correct.
passionately. But the
Yeah,
other works which I do is what actually, if you see the I more worry about, I mean, like the financial part and all there. Here, I
yeah.
not much worry about that, those things much. But what I more worry about is the the relationships which I build, right? That's what matters a lot here. And also the knowledge which I give in whatever way I can. I never put I mean, like a stopper, right? I keep pouring whatever I have, right? So that whoever is in front of me can pick it up how much ever they can, right? So that's my always a motive. And also I get lot from you all also. It's not that only I give, because from the questions, from the answers, I also get different ideas, different things. So yeah, it's a give and take, right? So again, so it's a passionate thing. So there are some consultations and also which I do after this, right? So my days are generally very packed, but still I love this. Though I take the session by the end of the day, still I feel energetic when I meet you, all of you, right? Because of that, the teaching is like a very graceful, or I can say a spiritual profession for me, right? So
Correct. Yes.
passionate one, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing. So
Yes,
it's
sir.
yeah, yeah, Hari.
Sir, you are providing the notes also?
Same question someone asked yesterday. So I am very bad at writing. Okay, but what I will do is whatever I'm writing on this board, no, maybe you can
Uh,
write it down in your notes.
Absolutely.
But yeah, but I have this materials, okay, which I will share. This drive link, the command, and all those, the PPTs and all, right? I'll share. So for example,
okay.
let me, yeah. So I have some PPTs and all. I'll share all those things, okay, with you. The commands, there are so many files. See, so many files are there. We'll share all those like test plan document, and many things are there which I will share, okay.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Yeah, but obviously I will notes, I don't know. Yeah, anyways, I think it's almost time. Sorry, I went too much ahead of time. I can take one last
Uh,
question. Yeah,
yeah, Vishnu, I just have one question. Like any
yeah,
couple
Rohit.
of sessions on regarding mobile performance testing.
Yes, we have. I have a detailed material also to share with you related to mobile app testing, which will have a
Yeah,
clear steps. Because what happens, maybe through recording you might not understand, right? When we are doing it live, because what I'm doing on my mobile, so I send screenshots so that you know what I'm doing on my mobile at the same time, what is coming in the JMeter, how it's getting recorded. So yes, there's a detailed session on that mobile app testing. Yeah,
okay, thank you.
yeah. Any doubts, anyone? Anything else? Okay, so let's stop it here for today, all of you. And sorry that I took extra 40 minutes, which is some unplanned, but still it was good that I could solve some questions. Yeah, so thank you all for joining again
Thank you.
and let's meet tomorrow. Thank you all and have a good day and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Vishnu.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you, sir. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Good night.